What is something nobody warns people about enough when it comes to having kids? Make sure your mental health is up to par when they become teenagers. I swear my youngest was going to drive me insane with all the worry she put me through with her mental health after her first BF cheated on her with her best friend after a year of dating. There's a very good chance they won't turn out like you think. You have to parent the kid you have. The books are fine for ideas. Your experience, friends' thoughts, pediatricians, therapists. But at the end of it all you have this complicated little person you're in charge of with their own preferences, feelings, insecurities, abilities. And you have to do what works for them and your family and, of course, also raise someone who isn't a blight on humanity or menace to society. The days are long and the years are so very short. If you felt invincible at some point in your life, you will never feel that way again. The mere thought of them being harmed in any way can completely destroy you. For me, I stopped having a chance to think anything through without interruption. I had a very hard time with that. I couldn't remember anything, couldn't make decisions, etc. because every thought seemed to get interrupted. I'd just sit in my car alone sometimes so I could think. Who are some celebrities that give you bad vibes? Can't wait to revisit this thread in 18 months. G-Eazy. Super creepy dude. Kept hitting on my photographer even after she declined him multiple times and said she had a kid. And a man. After he left, someone from his team gave her a hotel room key which she threw away. Big Sean. Overall asshole. Spit at me because I was filming his wrong side. Should have walked off that job but didn't. Really the only two celebrities I've encountered that weren't professional and or kind. Wendy Williams. Nick Cannon. Jared Leto does not seem to be going in a good direction. DJ Khaled. There's nothing authentic and down-to-earth about him. It's all an image, and it was made obvious when the whole Tyler the Creator #1 album thing came out. The industry might love him, but he's a egomaniac who thrives off other success. What's a random fact you're just waiting to bust out? In UK law there's a case called R.V. Dudley and Stevens. Basically, they were two sailors who were stranded at sea during the 1800s who killed and ate their cabin boy, who was extremely ill. In order to avoid starving, they survived but were tried for their act of cannibalism. Essentially, they were let off with just a fine. The ruling was that the unlawful act was for the greater good. If they hadn't have killed and eaten him, then it was likely that all of them would have starved to death. But instead only one of them died. This ruling was used in a recent conjoined twins case. If they carried out separation surgery, then it was likely that one of the twins would have died. However, if they didn't perform the surgery, then it was likely that both would die. So the surgery was allowed to proceed. Magnolia trees are so old they evolved before bees and are pollinated by beetles. Upon losing a battle, apes will tend to masturbate. There are various species of brood parasite birds. This means that these birds will lay their eggs in another bird's nest so that victim bird has to raise the young. When the baby parasite bird hatches, it will often try killing the other young. Victim birds have various defense. But the coolest ones to me are some of them basically printing barcodes on the eggs so they know if one doesn't belong. And some of them singing a specific song to the egg. And if the hatched chick can't replicate the song, it gets yeeted from the nest. Vikings would give kittens to newlywed couples as a part of the household. Next to Warsaw, Chicago has the world's second largest Polish population. https www.nationalgeographic.com/travel/article/Chicago's-polish-triangle. What do you think about the Kyle Rittenhouse verdict? After that dumb shit of a prosecutor was all like, is it CORECT that you played Call of Duty? Where they have guns like AR-15s? Asterisk I fucking swear that the prosecutor was gonna accuse Kyle of buying tickets to Joker 2019. Might be the worst prosecution team I've ever witnessed. I have no opinion on the verdict. But this will definitely be shown in law schools on how not to be a prosecutor. When they were asking him about the violent video games he played, you know they were grasping at straws. I think they should have just turned off the lights and gone home when the prosecution witness said he pointed his gun at Rittenhouse before Rittenhouse shot him. Kind of like the mercy rule in Little League Baseball. When you're down 25-0, it's time to call it. Not American. But as a lawyer I can safely say that prosecutor should have his ass thrown back at criminal process in college. Who is a real-life person you'd consider to be chaotic good? That guy who spray paints dicks on potholes so that the government covers them up. I believe. Diogenes. Nardwuar the human serviette. That guy who faked a surgeon's identity and then had to perform several life or death operations aboard a ship full of soldiers and none of them died or even got an infection. Fucker just straight up memorized a medicine book. The scambator Kitboga is probably the purest chaotic good person I can think of. Dude is hilarious and crushes the spirit of the scammer with crazy shenanigans. Yet is totally wholesome. https www.cbc.ca/news/trending/street-artist-wanksy-spray-paints-penuses-around-pothole-to-get-them-fill. Lead -1.3055612. People who have unfriended their childhood friend, best friend, what happened? I met my ex-best mate in school. He had a little narcissistic personality. But I understood that and ignored his faults. In late teens, we started drinking and partying as most do. This is when it became apparent that he had alcohol problems. Forever being violent, looking for fights, killing my good vibes, and getting me pulled into unwanted situations where I saved him or stopped him from beating on someone for no good reason. Throughout our life, he never attempted to fight me. He remained a pretty good friend to me until our first trip overseas to Asia. During our trip, he tried to coward punch me in the back of the head because I asked him to put out his cigarette that he had just lit. I asked him because we were seated in a restaurant surrounded by families. For some reason that angered him. I got up to leave and luckily heard him coming and avoided his punch. But he then tried to attack me further, which ended with us both on the ground and me on top of him while he shouted and went crazy. Eventually, police arrived and pointed a gun at both of us. Luckily, they didn't shoot. Having foreign police aiming at me because my friend wouldn't calm down was one of the most scary moments in my life, and that's saying something because I don't come from an easy upbringing. He was drunk, of course, and claims he doesn't remember. But there's no excuse to try and coward punch anyone, especially your best mate. I packed my bags that night and left our joint holiday plans in the dirt, traveling solo and having a blast when I got back from my trip. I quit drinking myself and have remained sober for the last 5 years. Throughout that 5 years, I've had brief encounters with him, but our friendship was never the same. Unfortunately, my old friend never changed as he aged. He eventually went to jail. I work in hospitals and have seen him show up to the emergency triage bashed with broken bones. And just a few months ago, he randomly knocked at my door where my wife answered. He was covered in blood. My wife went and woke me up. He had a stab wound and refused to go to the hospital. I drove him home and haven't seen or spoken to him since. His brother updated me and said he was fine. Whatever that means. He went to prison for domestic abuse. No thanks. We just faded out of each other's lives. Slowly. Sadly. I haven't unfriended her yet, but I'm basically at the point where I'm sick of her drama. Pettiness and main character syndrome. Anything that doesn't go her way is taken personally, and if you disagree with her, or even have a preference that differs from hers, she will berate you into submission and agreement. And heaven forbid you have a life that doesn't consider her wants and desires. We're both 30. Almost 31. I'm too old for that shit. Dude tried to kill me 2 days before Christmas. Turned out he had a crush on his own sister and was upset she had a crush on me. He failed to kill me, but he definitely killed our friendship. He was a pathological liar. Manipulative, and told all of my most trusted secrets to everyone because he wanted to feel powerful. And like he controlled me. Haven't spoken a word in 5 years and I have never looked back.
Subscribe, my brothers.